going on, everyone? So the Lakers made some awesome moves at the trade deadline, really upgraded the roster, really added some new freshness and life to the fan base and just the Lakers in general, added some real excitement going forward. We pretty much solved almost all of our needs, right? Shooting, wing depth, size on the perimeter, defense, guards that can actually score and play make and, create for themselves. And it's huge, not only just for this season, right? Obviously, gave us a chance to hopefully go on a run, make a push to try to get into the playoffs. We get into the playoffs, I'll take our chances, right? I really like how we match up against most, if not all, the teams in the Western Conference. But even if we don't, even if this year ends up becoming a wasted season, it still has some excitement going forward. You got the rest of this season, you got the off season, you got training camp, and you got preseason to figure it out, to try to go and compete and be one of the top teams next season, and then put yourself in a position to hopefully win a championship. The other beauty is we stay young, which is good, and we also have pretty much all of the guys for the foreseeable future. I mean, we have control over Beasley with player option. Vanderbilt has a reasonable contract, right? I mean, a super reasonable contract. Mo Bamba, we could even control. He has non-guarantee. We could either keep it or not. Rui Hachimura, he's restricted, so we can match and give him whatever we have to give him. And then, of course, D'Angelo Russell, right? The big question with D'Angelo Russell is he's the one guy that could end up leaving. He's the kind of risk that they took, but I don't really know or really too concerned with him leaving since the trade, which we'll dive into in a minute. But the Lakers want to extend or give D'Lo a new contract. The beauty is the Lakers have his bird rights, so even if they don't go into a contract this season, right, they don't sign him to an extension, then they could work out a new deal in the offseason to retain him long term. The Lakers are interested in it, and based on some reports, D'Lo is very interested in it as well. So we did get this from Adrian Wojnarowski. I think there's hope is there's a way to do either a new contract or extension with D'Angelo Russell. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski said Wednesday on Get Up at the 9:45 mark. Again, D'Lo, his last stint didn't go according to plan. He wasn't a bad player by any means. He was very solid for us. Problem was all the off-court antics, the whole thing in the locker room with Nick Young. Don't really need to get in that too much, but when it comes to D'Lo, it makes sense for him to stick out long-term. It also makes sense for the Lakers. One, I don't think D'Lo is ever most likely ever going to get a $30 million contract ever again. And if he does, the one team would be the Lakers. There's not really many places for him to go. There's not a ton of teams that have a bunch of salary cap that, one, would sign him and pay him a bunch of money, and two, have a need for him. A lot of the young teams that have the salary space all have guys that play his position, either the point guard or the shooting guard. And so, yes, he's still young enough to where, he's 26, so he could still fit some teams' timelines. Again, it's just what team is looking at and going, man, we need a D'Lo, and what team is going to be able to pay him. At least with the Lakers, they could sign him to a new extension. If they sign him to an extension during the season, they could sign him to a 2-year extension, in which he basically would fit LeBron and AD's timeline, or they could go the route of signing him to a new contract or new extension. They could do a 4-year in the offseason, or just a new contract in general, right? So maybe instead of an extension, again, I don't think he's going to get paid or really worth $30+ million. If they sign him to extension, 4-year extension, by like year 4, he'd probably be making somewhere in like the $40 million range. I don't see that happening. But maybe they could give him a new contract, something like 4 years, $80 million, or 4 years, maybe $100 million, somewhere in that ballpark where it's like, hey, we're not going to give you $30+ million, but we'll give you a home long term. You could be a guy that we kind of build around once LeBron and AD are done, or even if AD stays, you can be a piece that you and AD can kind of be the duo, and then we got all these young guys. I don't see the Lakers wanting to let D'Lo go. I don't believe they traded for any of these guys just to let him go. The only thing that I could see happening is if, let's say, Kyrie, if he wants to come to the Lakers in the offseason, then I could see them maybe trying to work out a sign and trade, extending D'Lo and then trading him in a sign and trade deal for Kyrie Irving. That is something I could see happening. But even then, is that something that that the Mavericks would want? Do they really want D'Lo as a replacement for Kyrie? Maybe, maybe not. I think if you did do that, it'd probably be another approach, probably go some other route. But regardless, I think that that's the only way I really see him being traded. I think ideally the Lakers would want to keep him, want to use him. I think they traded for him to be that third guy, and I think he fits that third guy role beautifully. He's a guy that if you need him to go get you 25, he can go get you 25. If you need him to play off the ball, he can play off the ball. If you need him to be your primary ball handler, he can be your primary ball handler. He's a guy that's played as a number one option and was an all-star and led a Brooklyn Nets team to the playoffs. He's a guy that's been the second, third, fourth option, right? So he's a guy that can fit in anywhere. His skill set, I believe, fits really nicely next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I think they finally found that guy that they've been trying to find in a Dennis Schroeder, in a Russell Westbrook, a guy that can play alongside LeBron James, but also allow LeBron James to play off the ball more, kind of take some of the pressure and duties off of him. D'Lo, I think, fits that beautifully. I think he gives you a lot of what the Lakers have been looking for, and just more. I think he's still young enough to where he's a piece that you could have for the next, 7 seasons if you want. And he'd still be 33 years old, 34 years old. So he's a guy that hasn't even entered his prime yet, that I think that has potential to only improve, only get better. He can shoot the ball. He's had a great season. You got him for an absolute steal. You're not going to have any salary space next season. So you're going to be an over the cap team. You might as well just keep him. It makes zero sense for the Lakers to lose him. And then again, for D'Lo, it makes no sense for him to leave the Lakers now. Lakers can pay him the most money. The Lakers have his bird rights. What team is he going to go to? He's not going to be able to go to some contender. He's not going to be able to go to some good quality team. If anything, he'd be going to like a rebuilding or tanking team, if any of those teams even would want him. And so I just think however you slice it, D'Lo is a Laker. I think he's going to be with the Lakers. I think they very likely they sign him to a new contract. I think he gets like 4 years in the $100 million range. Maybe you get like 85, 90, but I think he'll probably get somewhere in like the 25 million a year range, which I do think he is worth that. I think he is good. I think he's a guy that legit is a 20-point per game scorer. I mean, he has a career average of 17 a game, and for the most part, he's never been the one guy or even the two guy. The 1 year that he had, that he was the one guy, he was a legit scorer. And so I just think that he's a guy that fits the role that they need. He can play the role that they need. And I really think that he's a guy that fits the Lakers' plans long term. I think he's a guy that Laker fans will love. Everybody that was involved in the whole incident with D'Lo, they all are gone now. I mean, even Magic Johnson is gone. So I don't think that that's something that is going to be kind of hung over his head or anything like that. But in general, I mean, he said it himself. D'Lo said, I'm a grown man now. I was a kid at that point. I was a different person at that point. And I think that now he's a guy that can come in, be 15 to 20 point per game scorer. He's a guy that's put up 24 a game in seasons. So again, he's a guy that if given the opportunity, given the shots, and given the role, he can go and get you 20 plus. I think if he's hot, you let him cook. If he's not, you still have LeBron and AD, and he could still do multiple other things. Being able to operate in the mid-range, shooting the three ball, his percentages are better this year than his all-star year. So he's a guy that's clearly improving, right? He's a guy that also on the Lakers probably will be an all-star. If he can still average 17 plus a game with the Lakers, right? I really think, without a doubt, that he could end up getting back into all-star status. I think he's going to make more money in endorsements and brand deals and all kinds of stuff being a Laker. I do. I just think however you slice it. In his first 2 games with the Lakers, he's averaging 15 and a half points per game. So I mean, even now, and he's shooting 46 for almost 47%. So he's a guy that even with the Lakers, and granted it's a 2 game sample size, he's still doing great. And I see him continuing that path. I see him continuing to be great. I see him continuing to have an impact on this Laker team going forward. And in my opinion, he is the biggest impact player the Lakers got. You got to keep him. You figure it out. You give him that extension, or you sign him to a new contract. Hopefully, they sign him to a new long-term deal. I hope it's not like a 2-year thing and then we end up losing him. I really do. I hope that it's something where, no, hey, let's lock him up long-term. Let's sign you to a new contract. We got you here for the next 4+ years. And then, we have that stability, right? Also gives you some flexibility, especially if you can sign him to like a $25 million deal, right? Then that also, if it ever does come up where you can go get like another star or something, D'Lo's salary is reasonable enough to where a team might actually take him. It just gives you flexibility going forward regardless. But anyway, I'm a fan of D'Lo. I like the idea of D'Lo on this Lakers team, and I hope that they work it out and keep him. Based on reports, he's interested. Lakers are interested. Hope it works out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you want the Lakers to keep D'Lo? Do you think yes, keep him? We need him long term. Would you be okay if they let him go? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, again, let me know down in the comments below.